Friday evening.
Yeah.
And babes, we made it.
We genuinely, we actually crossed the finish line of another grueling week.
Snark Squad, welcome back.
But
We love you. We love you for being here. And we love you for loving us.
no, we really do.
We are talking directly to you tonight, wherever you are, whatever you are doing, because honestly, we just need to decompress together. And babes, we both have work tomorrow. Yay for being dentists.
Ugh. And Loki, we are both hoping it's a half day. Because, babes, how have we not won the lottery yet?
Literally.
Seriously, I am looking at the sheer volume of chaotic energy we manage every single day in that clinic, right? And then I'm looking at my tax bracket, and I'm feeling profoundly analytically cheated by the universe.
I'm so glad you brought this up.
Okay.
Because I was literally having an existential crisis about this on the drive over here.
Oh, I believe it.
Why are we still doing composite fillings and, arguing with people about their gingivitis when we are so clearly, on a molecular level, aligned to be eccentric billionaires?
The delusion is so real.
It is. I am constantly operating under the delusion that wealth is just, gonna manifest. I deserve to be on a private archipelago in the Mediterranean, wearing an oversized linen set, ignoring my phone because my Wi-Fi is intentionally jammed to keep out the peasants.
Oh, obviously. The Wi-Fi jammer is essential.
Right. I deserve to have a full-time staff member whose only job, whose literal exclusive job, is to peel my grapes and tell me I am glowing.
Okay, the psychology of the lottery delusion is actually, it's fascinating. We rely on this fantastical escapism because the reality of the daily grind is fundamentally designed to drain us.
Yeah.
But analytically speaking, the lottery system is deeply flawed because it requires you to actually, buy a ticket, which honestly feels like an unnecessary hurdle.
So unnecessary.
If the universe is truly paying attention to our vibes, it would just deposit the mega millions directly into our checking accounts. I shouldn't have to participate in the statistical anomaly of buying a slip of paper at a gas station.
It's exactly. Going to a gas station to buy a ticket is peasant behavior.
Yeah.
And honestly, the delusion is the only thing keeping my cortisol levels in check. But wait, let me push back on you for a second.
Go for it.
You say it's escapism, right? But what if it's just us recognizing our true value?
Okay.
I am not escaping reality. I am rejecting a reality that doesn't accurately reflect my worth. Buying an island isn't even a luxury anymore. It's a structural necessity for my mental health. I need a physical moat to keep the negativity out.
And by negativity, you mean Monday mornings. And patients who lie to our faces about their flossing habits.
Oh my God, the liars.
You know they lie. I know they lie. The bleeding gums are an empirical data point that contradicts their narrative.
Every single time.
But until we get that generational wealth, we are here, fully committed to being professional reality TV commentators, dissecting the absolute mess of human behavior.
Which brings us to the survival juice. Because on deck tonight, spicy pineapple margaritas. Babes, these are so good.
Let's assess the situation. Let's do the taste test live on mic. We need to determine the exact threshold of what we're working with tonight.
Okay, clinking glasses. Cheers to you listening at home.
Cheers.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Oh my God. My chest is physically constricting. My soul is burning. What did you put in this?
It's not that bad.
Is this industrial grade mace? Are we casually drinking pepper spray on a Friday night?
Okay, lower the volume. It's not pepper spray. It's an artisanal jalapeno and habanero infusion that I let sit for exactly 48 hours.
You are trying to take me out.
It's perfectly balanced if you actually understand flavor profiles. You're just reacting to the rapid collision of the high-acidity pineapple juice mixing with the concentrated capsaicin. Analytically, it's a masterpiece.
A masterpiece.
Yeah, it hits the front of the palate with this bright, deceptive sweetness, and then it finishes in the back of the throat with an undeniable warning.
A warning. That is not a warning. That is a direct threat to my central nervous system. My taste buds are actively filing a class action lawsuit against this beverage.
You're being so dramatic. Take another sip.
But wait, okay, the aftertaste is actually kind of everything. It's warm, it's sneaky, it's giving danger.
That's the exact danger level we aim for. It's a sneaky, strong situation. The capsaicin actually triggers an endorphin release to combat the perceived pain in your mouth, which pairs dangerously well with the tequila.
Oh, I feel the endorphins.
Yeah, you have 2 of these, and suddenly your prefrontal cortex shuts down, and you're texting your ex a multi-paragraph thesis on why their attachment style ruined your life, complete with APA citations and screenshots from 2022.
Oh, absolutely not. We are putting our phones on airplane mode right now. I refuse to let the spicy margarita dictate my digital footprint because we wanted to start this episode with you. our Snark squad.
Yes.
And to the babes, always in our comments, sliding into our DMs, dropping your stories. We love you.
We truly do. We live for the absolute chaos you bring into our orbit. Like, your mess sustains us. Which brings us to our favorite segment of the week. Shady, snarky, or stupid.
Yeah.
We have 3 listener submissions tonight, and we need to medically diagnose the level of pathology in these social interactions.
Okay, I am so ready. Scenario number 1. This is from a listener who says, my friend offered to pick up the birthday cake for our other friend's party. She arrived 2 hours late after everyone had already sung without the cake, and she brought a carrot cake.
Oh, wow.
Wait, it gets worse. The birthday girl is highly allergic to nuts, and the cake was heavily covered in walnuts. When we freaked out, my friend claimed she just forgot about the allergy and thought she was being super helpful by running the errand.
Typical.
Babes, I am emotionally sweating. My heart rate is spiking just reading this.
Let's break this down systematically. From a purely analytical standpoint, the I just forgot defense is the oldest, most insidious manipulation tactic in the social playbook.
It's evil.
This is a textbook example of weaponized incompetence disguised as an altruistic favor.
Wait, explain weaponized incompetence for anyone who hasn't encountered this specific brand of evil. Because to me, it just looks like pure, unfiltered sabotage. Who brings a carrot cake to a birthday party anyway?
Right.
That is a fundamental crime against pastry.
Weaponized incompetence is when someone intentionally performs a task poorly so they will never be asked to do it again, or, in this case, to assert dominance while maintaining plausible deniability.
Okay.
It's incredibly shady. Think about the mechanics of what she did. By arriving 2 hours late, she controlled the pacing of the entire party.
Oh, true.
She ensured that when she finally walked in, all eyes were on her entrance. She shifted the focal point from the birthday girl to herself.
Oh my God, you are so right. It's the, look at me, the hero who finally arrived. Complex. But the nuts, the walnuts on the cake, she actively tried to induce anaphylaxis.
She literally weaponized a legume.
This reminds me of when my college roommate, quote unquote, accidentally washed my favorite silk slip dress with her bleach-stained towels because she wanted to, quote, help me with my chores.
Oh, Jessica?
No, you didn't, Jessica.
Oh.
You knew exactly what the bleach would do. You were jealous I looked better in the dress.
Exactly. Jessica was engaging in calculated sabotage, and this cake friend is doing the exact same thing. Bringing an allergen into the room isn't a memory lapse. It's a subconscious or honestly conscious act of hostility. It creates a crisis where she gets to play the victim who is just trying to help, while everyone else is forced to manage the chaos she created. The diagnosis is 100% shady.
Friendship over. Throw the whole friend away. Block her number. Okay, moving to scenario 2. This one is wild.
Let's hear it.
I've been in a situationship for 8 months. He told me early on he wasn't ready for a label. Yesterday, he posted a photo dump on Instagram. The third slide was a picture of him holding hands with another girl across the table, and his caption for the whole post was wifey material.
Oh, no.
When I confronted him over text, he said, I hate labels. I was just quoting a Drake lyric to be funny. I am yelling. I am physically throwing objects across the room. He is so stupid. Men are fundamentally, biologically so stupid. A Drake lyric. Is that the best lie his underdeveloped frontal lobe could conjure?
I actually have to disagree with you here.
What? Why?
I don't think he's stupid at all. I think he thinks she is stupid. This is incredibly snarky behavior on his part, layered with aggressive, almost sociopathic gaslighting. He knows exactly what the mechanism of a photo dump is.
Wait, break that down for me. How is it snarky and not just him being a moronic clown? Because the math of I hate labels plus wifey material is not mathing.
Because a photo dump is never random. It is a highly calculated, meticulously curated exhibition of one's life.
That's true. I take like 40 photos for one slide.
Right. Burying the hand-holding photo on the third slide, that is a deliberate engagement trap. He knows the algorithm rewards dwell time and swiping. He wanted people to swipe to find the Easter egg and to speculate.
Oh my God.
And using the Drake lyric excuse gives him an immediate exit route to call her crazy or overreactive for noticing the exact thing he wanted everyone to notice.
Oh, wow. So he is weaponizing the plausible deniability of meme culture to disrespect her in public. That is so dark. You are so right. It's a power play.
Completely.
She belongs in a circus, but he's running the show. Babes, if you are listening to this, you need to block him on every single platform. I am talking Instagram, TikTok, Venmo, and LinkedIn.
Especially LinkedIn.
Do not let this man endorse your skills. Do not let him view your profile.
The block is non-negotiable. It's a manipulative tactic designed to keep you emotionally off balance while he blatantly advertises his availability or lack thereof to his broader audience. It's intentional disrespect wrapped in a joke, snarky and toxic.
Ugh, the absolute worst. Okay, final scenario. Scenario 3. A coworker keeps CCing our boss on emails where she corrects my minor typos. Like if I miss a single comma in a massive report, she hits reply all and says, just wanted to clarify the punctuation here so there's no confusion moving forward. Is this shady, snarky, or stupid?
Oh, this is a layered one.
Oh my God. My blood pressure just shot through the roof. I would physically meet her in the parking lot. That is so incredibly unhinged to weaponize a comma.
This is a fascinating intersection of workplace pathology because if you look at the mechanism of action, on one hand, it is undeniably shady. She is utilizing the CC function to build a documented, searchable paper trail of your so-called incompetence for middle management.
Yes, but it's also snarky. The tone is drenched in condescension.
Oh.
Just wanted to clarify so there's no confusion.
Right.
No, you didn't, Brenda. There was zero confusion about what the sentence meant without the Oxford comma. You just wanted to be a pick-me for corporate management. You wanted a gold star for proofreading.
But here's the critical pivot. Analytically, it's also incredibly stupid.
Really?
And here's why. She thinks she is demonstrating attention to detail, but any boss with even a modicum of leadership capability is looking at that reply all and thinking, why is Brenda wasting valuable company time and clogging up the server auditing commas instead of generating actual revenue or doing her designated job?
Wait, that is such a good point. She thinks she's exposing the listener, but she's actually exposing her own lack of productivity.
Exactly. She is highlighting her own pettiness. She becomes a liability to team morale. So she thinks she's being a corporate shark, but she actually just looks unemployable.
Yes. It is a holy trinity of disaster. It is shady, snarky, and stupid. Brenda is a menace to the modern workforce. HR needs to be involved immediately, or someone needs to accidentally unplug her router.
Just sever the Ethernet cable.
I am so riled up right now. My fight-or-flight response is fully activated.
Take another sip of the spicy danger marg. The capsaicin will ground you.
Okay, good call. Oh, still hurts. But I feel centered. And babes, before we came to the studio today, we did a little painting. And when we say, we are not painters, we mean it.
It was supposed to be a grounding exercise, a cute, therapeutic sip and paint vibe to decompress the analytical side of our brains from the week.
We tried.
We went to the craft store. We bought the little wooden easels. We bought the professional-grade acrylics. We genuinely thought we were going to channel our inner Renaissance masters.
I had misplaced confidence that was honestly staggering, like a terrifying level of hubris. I sat down in front of that blank canvas and I thought to myself, I am going to paint a self-portrait that captures my complex essence.
You really hyped yourself up.
I did. I thought, it's going to be giving modern art. It's going to belong in the MoMA. I understand lighting. Babes, you need to understand what materialized.
It's bad.
It looks like a sleep paralysis demon. It looks like a potato that was left in the microwave for 45 minutes and then someone drew asymmetrical eyes on it with a dying Sharpie.
Your painting is genuinely haunting. Like, if you hang it in your house, the property value will plummet.
Shut up. Yours was terrible too.
But mine isn't any better. Because I couldn't just paint a face, I tried to do an analytical, geometric abstraction of my features. I wanted sharp angles, cool tones, very Picasso meets Architectural Digest. I wanted to deconstruct my identity into shapes.
And what did you actually create? Tell the people.
What I actually created was a beige square that looks like a sad, dehydrated slice of American cheese.
A craft single.
It has zero depth. It violates every rule of perspective.
I couldn't stop laughing. I was physically weeping in the craft room. The absolute audacity we had to think we could just pick up a brush and execute fine art. Babes, we might post our self-portraits because they are literally so bad.
We have to, for the sake of extreme transparency. You need to see the absolute depths of our lack of visual talent.
They really do. Okay, babes, we are tipsy, judgmental, and artistically challenged. Let's get into the episode.
Let's do it. We are looking at Season 2, Episodes 9 and 10 of The Hunting Party. And I have to say, the psychological warfare, the absolute moral bankruptcy, and the character dynamics in these two episodes had me taking frantic notes.
I have so much to say. I'm vibrating with opinions. Let's start with Episode 9, Colette Atkins. First of all, can we just give a standing ovation for Piper Perabo playing the villain?
Incredible casting. I am obsessed. She completely, entirely nailed this role. She gave us unhinged, she gave us deeply tragic, she gave us terrifying. She left no crumbs.
Her performance was incredibly effective, yes. But let's analytically unpack the absolute mess of her backstory. Because the trauma here isn't just a plot device. It's a masterclass in psychological breaking points. So we flash back to 2015 Kansas City. Colette is working in her family's mortuary, and she is specifically doing the restorative makeup on her own dead father's body.
Okay, stop. Right there.
Wow.
We have to pause on the mechanism of this scene. The visual of working on your own dad's lifeless body in a sterile fluorescent-lit morgue. I would be in a padded cell. I would simply short-circuit and pass away.
It's extremely heavy.
But she's standing there, smelling the embalming fluid, applying foundation to a corpse, and then in walks her older sister, Liza. And babes, when I tell you Liza is the ultimate toxic mean girl, I was getting hot under the collar. She is so profoundly awful. Liza is the catalyst for the entire tragedy. And if you look at the family dynamic, it's a classic, deeply damaging pathology. Liza resents Colette because their mother died in childbirth having Colette.
Which is so unfair to project onto a sibling.
Exactly. Liza has spent her entire life projecting the blame for their mother's death onto her younger sister. So Liza comes into the mortuary, completely disregarding the sanctity of Colette's grief, and starts mocking her.
The nerve.
She tells Colette she's wasting expensive makeup, says their dad didn't even care what he looked like when he was alive, and literally calls Colette a freak.
The bullying. The sheer unadulterated cruelty. Liza's standing there with her arms crossed like, you're wasting foundation, he's dead. Like, let the girl process her trauma. Let her grieve.
Right.
So Colette gets flustered, the physical tension rises, they push each other, and a glass makeup jar drops and shatters on the tile floor.
Right.
And Liza doesn't back down. She just keeps pushing. Are you going to cry? You're as nuts as Dad. And then Colette snaps. She suddenly hears her dead dad's voice echoing in the room, telling her to defend herself, and she literally grabs a tool and slits Liza's throat.
The escalation is genuinely staggering. It happens in a fraction of a second.
I was screaming. I had to pause the TV and walk around my living room. Let me push back on this scene, though.
Okay.
Because I hate a bully, and Liza was a terrible sister. But slitting someone's throat over dropped mortuary makeup and a few mean words, that is a wild escalation. That is 0 to 100 in a nanosecond. Why did she go straight to lethal force? Why not just punch her in the face?
That's the critical question. And it's not just about the makeup. What you are witnessing is the exact moment of a psychotic break.
Right.
It's the breaking point of a lifetime of emotional abuse and guilt, combined with the sudden onset of severe command auditory hallucinations. The voice she hears isn't just an internal monologue. To her brain, it is an external, authoritative command from a perceived reality.
So scary.
The show also subtly hints that her psychosis might have been accelerated by prolonged, unventilated exposure to embalming chemicals like formaldehyde, which can have severe neurotoxic effects. It's a fascinating, if scientifically slightly exaggerated, detail.
Oh, totally. Like OSHA was clearly not doing routine inspections at the Atkins mortuary. The ventilation was garbage, and her brain chemistry was basically marinating in trauma and chemicals.
Exactly. But the real horror of Colette's story isn't even the initial murder. It's what the PIC, the secret underground government facility, did to her after she was captured. This is where we get into the ethics of weaponized therapy.
Oh my God, Dr. Sidney Fairfax, put him in jail, put him under the jail, drop the key into the Marianas Trench. You need to explain to the listener exactly what they did to her, because I am still physically unwell from comprehending the science of this.
So Colette escalated. She killed 11 people total, burying them in coffins alongside other unrelated bodies in actual graveyards. When the pit finally caught her, they couldn't find the bodies. So Dr. Fairfax, the lead psychologist and surgeon, performed an experimental, highly illegal surgery called targeted neurocortical decoupling.
Sounds terrifying.
They physically severed the specific neural pathways in her brain's auditory cortex that were generating the hallucination of her father's voice. They surgically silenced the ghost in her head.
Which, on paper, sounds like a cure. You hear that and you think, okay, yay, modern medicine, they fixed the schizophrenia, they cured the voices. But no. It's so much darker.
It is infinitely darker, because Colette still refused to tell them the coordinates of where the bodies were buried. So what did the pit do? To force her compliance, they used advanced AI voice cloning technology.
Absolute worst.
They fed old home videos of her father into an algorithm, perfectly recreated his voice, and then pumped that synthetic voice back into her solitary confinement cell through hidden speakers. They tortured her with a digital ghost of her dad.
It is like Black Mirror, but 10 times more vicious.
It is the absolute definition of unethical. They removed her internal hallucination, which, however sick, was her coping mechanism, just so they could control the supply of that voice externally.
Yeah.
They didn't cure her trauma. They monetized it for intelligence gathering. They created an addiction and became the sole supplier. It's deeply, fundamentally shady, and it shows that the pit operates with zero moral boundaries.
It is pure strategy over humanity. It is evil. So now in the present day, Colette has escaped the pit, and she's desperate for that voice. Her brain is screaming for the comfort of her father, but it's been surgically removed. She's completely adrift in silence. So what does she do to cope? She starts stealing empty coffins and kidnapping men who have good singing voices.
She targets men like Marty Fletcher and Nelson Stewart specifically because their vocal timbre matches her father's. She kidnaps them, traps them, and tries to force them to sing her dad's old lullabies to soothe her fractured nervous system.
So creepy.
And when they inevitably panic or their voices crack or they fail to sound exactly right, she kills them.
We have to talk about the Nelson Stewart scene. I need a trigger warning for this entire sequence. She puts him inside a wooden coffin, closes the lid, and then starts filling it with water through a garden hose.
A brutal way to go.
Babes, imagine you are in that coffin. Waking up in pitch blackness, you can't move your arms. And freezing water is slowly, methodically pouring in over your face. I am spiraling. That is my ultimate visceral nightmare. I would simply spontaneously combust from the panic alone.
The mechanism of the drowning is particularly brutal because it's slow and it's completely enclosed. It plays on extreme claustrophobia, sensory deprivation, and utter helplessness. It's not a quick execution. It's a protracted psychological torture for the victim.
It's giving me hives just thinking about it. But moving on to the actual investigation, the Scooby gang Bex, Hassani, and Shane realize Nelson and Marty both sang at the same local karaoke bar, so they stake it out.
Right.
And this is where we get a massive, deeply emotional character moment. Hassani and Bex are waiting in the booth, and Hassani is just completely on edge. He is nervously twirling his wedding ring around his finger.
He's anxious, he's totally out of his element, and the karaoke setting itself is triggering a trauma response. Bex, being an elite profiler, notices the microexpressions immediately.
She always knows.
And Hassani finally breaks. He confesses his deepest secret. He reveals that his wife died 2 years ago. And the truly tragic part of the psychology here, she died while he was halfway across the world on a black ops mission, completely unreachable, and his elderly parents were the ones who had to step in and be with his kids.
Okay, yes, it was a very tender, heartbreaking moment. I felt the guilt he was carrying. I really did. But Yindi, I have to pause the emotion because we have to talk about the Reddit spiral. Because the internet went absolutely crazy after this scene aired, and honestly, I am with the internet on this one.
The structural plot holes in this revelation are glaring.
They are massive, unfillable craters. Listen to this logic. Hassani says his wife died 2 years ago. Okay, tragic, awful. His parents were with the kids then. Okay, but where are the kids and now W?
It's a great question.
Hassani is literally flying across the country on private government jets, chasing serial killers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Who is raising these children? Are they feral? Did he just leave them in a locked house with an automatic feeder and a bowl of water?
The logistical impossibility of a single father holding a Black Ops rapid response federal field job with zero mention childcare infrastructure is a massive oversight by the Raiders.
Literally.
It breaks the suspension of disbelief. And Reddit didn't stop there with the continuity errors.
No, they did not. People were ruthless. They were like, wait, while we're talking about missing kids, what happened to Bex's adopted daughter, Sam? Sam was a whole major emotional plot point in season 1, and now she's just gone.
Vanish.
Did she evaporate into the ether? And my personal favorite, someone on a deep dive forum asked, what happened to the Attorney General's giant fiddle leaf fern plants? Because they used to be in every shot of his office and they just vanished from the set. The continuity department is literally in the trenches.
It's a classic procedural television problem. Showrunners often drop serialized character arcs like dependents or pets for the sake of the monster of the week pacing.
The way writing.
But they need to address these dropped storylines before the audience completely loses faith in the world building. You can't just delete a child from a character's life and expect the audience not to notice the structural vacuum.
Seriously, hire me for continuity. I will keep track of the kids and the plants. Anyway, back to the karaoke bar. Colette shows up, spots the feds, panics, and takes a civilian hostage. Shane, operating on pure adrenaline, tackles her to the ground like a linebacker. Badass physical takedown.
There's a very clean tackle.
But then, to get the coordinates for Marty, because Marty is currently dying of dehydration in a box somewhere, Bex does something wild.
This is a pivotal ethical threshold for the show.
Bex
Physically restrains Colette, puts a heavy canvas backpack over Colette's head, simulating the total darkness and claustrophobia of a coffin, which she knows is Colette's ultimate trigger.
So intense.
Then, Bex pulls out her phone, uses a voice translator app to perfectly mimic Liza, the abusive dead sister. And Bex verbally abuses Colette through the app, threatening to leave her in the dark forever unless she gives up the location.
I was gasping for air. My jaw was physically on the floor. Bex went full savage mode. But let's debate this. Was she crossing a major, unforgivable line? Part of me was screaming, "Yes, Queen, get that info, save the victim." But the other part of me was terrified of how easily Bex slipped into the role of a torturer.
Analytically, we have to call it what it is, psychological torture, full stop. She is intentionally inducing severe panic and re-traumatization in a suspect to extract a confession.
Right.
Now, the ticking clock element, Marty dying, provides the classic utilitarian justification. Do the ends justify the means? It was absolutely necessary to save a life. But Bex herself struggles with the cognitive dissonance afterward. It blurs the line between the good guys and the Pitt's methods.
It really does. Because how is that fundamentally different from what Dr. Fairfax did with the AI vice of her dad? It's just a different app and a different dead family member. It's the exact same mechanism of exploitation. But it worked. Colette breaks, they get the coordinates, and they save Marty, and then we get the plane ride home.
Which is an incredible, almost jarring tonal whiplash.
They were literally doing karaoke on a private government jet to Cyndi Lauper's Time After Time. It was so cute. It was giving squad goals. Bex and Shane are twirling in the aisle. Hassani is genuinely laughing for the first time. I was like, wow, healing? The trauma bonding is real.
And then the hammer drops.
The vibes are completely irrevocably ruined. Hassani gets an encrypted phone call and learns that Lazarus, Shane's evil, manipulative mother who runs the pit, was the one who originally fast-tracked Shane's application to the agency years ago. She has known about his existence and his career trajectory this entire time.
Which completely shatters the fragile narrative Shane has been desperately building. He's been defending her to the team, operating under the delusion that she just found out about him, and is a misunderstood victim of a harsh government system.
Yes.
But no, the data proves she's a master manipulator playing a decade-long game of chess.
He is so deeply delusional, he is blinded by the mommy issues, which perfectly transitions us into Episode 10, Byron May. Babes, if you thought Colette and the coffins were weird, Byron is going to make you want to burn your house down and salt the earth.
Byron May is a masterclass in modern technological paranoia. Let's look at his tragic, incredibly creepy pathology. He's a lonely, socially inept tech repair guy. People bring him their broken phones and laptops.
Big mistake.
And what does he do? He doesn't just fix the screen, he snoops. He reads their private texts, checks their digital calendars, figures out their hyper-specific likes and dislikes, and then he buys them expensive concert tickets or shows up at their favorite coffee shop to force a friendship based entirely on stolen data.
Which is already a huge, massive violation. If the guy at the Apple Store looked at my group chats, I would sue him for emotional distress. But then, when these people inevitably realize he's being a creepy stalker and reject him, his brain completely misfires. He flips out into a violent rage and beats them to death with whatever random household object is nearby, just brutally batters them.
It's the ultimate violent manifestation of rejection sensitivity dysphoria, or RSD. For those who aren't familiar, RSD is an extreme emotional sensitivity and emotional pain triggered by the perception, real or imagined, that you have been rejected or criticized by important people in your life.
Wow, okay.
In Byron's case, his brain processes rejection as a mortal threat, and his fight-or-flight response defaults entirely to fight. But again, the true systemic horror lies in what the pit did to him.
Oh my God, the womb. I can't even speak about the womb. I need you to explain this because I thought it was hallucinating.
So, the Pitt's psychologists analyzed Byron and determined that his severe inability to connect emotionally stems from a traumatic birth experience. Specifically, his umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck, causing brief hypoxia.
Okay, sure.
So, what is their brilliant, cutting-edge solution to rehabilitate this violent, bludgeoning murderer? They build a simulated womb chamber out of pink, fibrous loft insulation, and they put him inside it for sensory deprivation, hoping to trigger early childhood regression and rebirth him psychologically.
I am screaming. A loft insulation womb. It looked like giant itchy cotton candy made of fiberglass. It is the most ridiculous, unscientific thing I have ever seen on television. Are you kidding me? If you put me in fiberglass insulation, I am not being reborn. I am breaking out in a full-body rash.
It is absolute pseudo-psychological nonsense. Regression therapy is highly controversial, even in clinical settings, but building a literal fiberglass cocoon for a grown man is absurd. It's like trying to fix a complex software glitch by hitting the motherboard with a hammer wrapped in a blanket.
It reminds me of a millennial trying to excuse their toxic dating habits. Oh, I'm sorry I ghosted you for 3 weeks and drained your bank account. I'm a Pisces, and I fell off a swing set in 1999, so I have avoidant attachment issues.
Exactly.
Like, no, Byron, you're just a violent creep. Stop blaming the umbilical cord for your absolute lack of boundaries.
The accountability deflection is staggering, but here is where it gets terrifying. His time in the pseudo-womb therapy actually evolved his modus operandi in the present day. Because now that he's escaped, he doesn't have a tech repair job to access people's digital lives. So he has escalated his physical proximity. He has escalated to phrogging.
Oh, God. Do not even say that word. I hate that word with every fiber of my being.
We have to talk about it. For anyone who might not know, phrogging is a real, documented phenomenon where a person secretly lives in someone else's house while the owners are currently living there, completely undetected. They move from room to room, like a frog leaping between lily pads, avoiding the residents.
I am checking my attic tonight. I am unscrewing my air vents with a drill. The visceral terror of this is unmatched. Because he is hiding in people's attics, physically watching them 24/7 through the slats in the vents. He's studying their micro-movements to learn how to be their perfect friend.
It's invasive on another level.
And the worst part, when the victim leaves the room to go to the bathroom, he scurries down silently, eats their leftover food right off their plate, and goes back up into the ceiling.
It's the ultimate, profound violation of sanctuary. The psychological safety of your home is destroyed. Think about the victim, James Wilson. Byron was secretly living in James's house for an entire month, 30 days.
Makes me sick.
Byron was watching him sleep, watching him eat, learning the exact timing of his morning routine. And when James finally noticed a discrepancy and caught him, Byron bludgeoned him.
The photo. We have to talk about the photo that Morales found on James's social media. James is just taking a normal, smiling selfie in his kitchen. And in the background, in the dark hallway, completely out of focus, is Byron just standing there watching him. I threw my remote across the room. It is pure nightmare fuel. Lock your doors, get a large dog, install a 12-camera security system.
But the narrative genius of this episode is how it shifts from a simple monster of the week horror story into a massive systemic conspiracy. Because Bex, using her analytical profiling, realizes that Byron's extremely specific MO, the bludgeoning, the snooping, perfectly matches a famous uncaught serial killer known as the East Side Ripper.
Hey, wait, let's unpack this conspiracy, because Lazarus is revealed to be the ultimate villain here. She is the architect of so much suffering.
Precisely. The timeline proves the pit caught Byron years ago. But because the pit is a strictly illegal, off-the-books, black site operation, they couldn't exactly hand Byron over to the local police department without exposing their own existence. They needed to keep him a secret to experiment on him. So Lazarus and the pit just stood by and allowed a completely innocent man, Victor Rosa, to be arrested, convicted, and sentenced to multiple life terms for Byron's crimes. They let an innocent man rot in a concrete cell for decades just to protect their operational budget.
It makes my blood physically boil. Victor lost his entire life, he lost his marriage, his freedom, and his son hates him. And Lazarus just shrugged her shoulders, filed the paperwork, and let it happen. And why? So they could put Byron in a fiberglass womb. Make the logic make sense.
It highlights the absolute moral bankruptcy of the pit as an institution. They view human lives as acceptable collateral damage. But this conspiracy brings us to another bizarre, deeply unsettling subculture that the show highlights. How did Byron find his new victims once he escaped? Through serial killer fan mail.
Gross. I physically recoiled.
James Wilson, the victim, and several others were actively writing letters to Victor Rosa in prison because there is an entire, very real subset of true crime-obsessed individuals who write fan mail, and often romantic letters, to incarcerated serial killers. It's tied to a clinical concept called hybristophilia.
We have to snark on this. We have to dissect the psychology of these people. Why is this a thing? Who sits down at their desk, buys a commemorative stamp, and writes a love letter to a man who allegedly batters people to death?
It defies logic.
Oh, he's just misunderstood. Society failed him. I can fix him with my cursive. No, you can't, Brenda. He's a psychopath. Go to therapy. Get a hobby. Do a puzzle. Stop writing to inmates on death row.
It's fascinating clinically. It stems from a pathological need for proximity to notoriety mixed with a profound savior complex. The letter writer feels safe because the killer's behind bars, so they get the thrill of the bad boy without the physical danger. It's deeply disturbing. And Byron brilliantly exploits this pathology. He intercepts these letters by posing online as a true crime writer named Kendra Wilcox, manipulating Victor into handing over his correspondence.
Which leads Byron straight to Victor's estranged son, Eric, who hasn't spoken to his dad in years because he grew up believing his dad was a literal monster.
The climax sequence here is a masterclass in tension. Byron targets Eric. He finds Eric's lost dog, Bo. He uses the dog as a prop to manufacture a high-emotion social interaction. He returns the dog, playing the hero, and Eric, being overly trusting and relieved, invites this total stranger into his house for a drink.
Stranger danger. We literally learned this in kindergarten. Do not let the weird man who found your dog into your living room, give him a $20 reward on the porch, and close the deadbolt.
But
no. Eric is pouring him a scotch, spilling his emotional guts about his serial killer dad, while Byron is literally the real killer sitting on his sofa. The dramatic irony is so thick, you could cut it with a chainsaw.
Byron operates under the delusion that Eric will forgive him based on the empathetic tone of the letters Eric previously wrote to his dad. But when Byron slips up and Eric realizes who is sitting in his house, Byron attacks. And just in the nick of time, the Scooby Gang bursts through the front door.
And Shane? Oh my God, we have to talk about Shane's reaction. He doesn't pull his bag. He doesn't read him his Miranda rights. He doesn't try to de-escalate or arrest him. Byron takes Eric hostage with a knife, and Shane just raises his gun, completely deadpan, emotionless, and shoots Byron right in the forehead. Boom, execution style.
It was incredibly cold. And analytically, it's a terrifying moment because it proves the Pit's original psychological evaluation of Shane might have been entirely accurate. There is a deep, unrehabilitated darkness in Shane, a willingness to cross the line to lethal force without a second of hesitation.
I was cheering, honestly. I'm sorry, but one less attic creeper in the world. Good riddance. But the real victory, the real meat of the episode, is what happens next. The team actively defies Lazarus. Lazarus is in their ear, ordering them to clean up the blood, bag the body, and bring it back to the pit to maintain the cover-up. But Bex and Shane look at each other and say, no. We are leaving the body right here for the local cops.
It's a massive structural shift. They intentionally break federal protocol to ensure Byron's fingerprints and DNA are processed by local authorities at the scene. This irrefutably proves Byron is the real East Side Ripper, which forces the system to officially exonerate Victor Rosa.
Seeing Victor walk out of those heavy prison gates in the sunlight and hug his son, Eric, I was sobbing. I was an emotional wreck on my couch. Bex literally risked her entire career, federal treason charges, prison time, all of it, just to give this completely innocent man his life back.
It was a powerful...
Oh, this is easy. I will take the smart side. The people moving smart. Great. Bex and Hassani, they're keeping their emotional and professional guard all the way up against Lazarus. They know she's a snake in the grass. And Hassani, he is the undisputed king of moving smart. Think about the mechanism of his secret. He hid his deepest, darkest trauma, his wife's death, from everyone. He literally lied while bleeding out in a hospital bed in season 1 to protect that information. He only revealed it to Bex when he had empirical evidence that he was safe and could trust her. That is fortress-level emotional security.
It's pure, calculated self-preservation. Hassani treats emotional vulnerability like classified, highly sensitive intel. You only get access to it on a strict need-to-know basis. On the flip side, the person blindly trusting, Shane. It's almost physically painful to watch his cognitive dissonance. He spent the entire first half of these episodes blindly defending Lazarus, projecting this entirely fabricated narrative that she's just a misunderstood teenager who made a systemic mistake.
I was yelling at the screen, Shane, look at the facts. She is running a secret, unregulated, underground torture prison. She blew up a facility. She uses AI to mentally break people. Stop calling her misunderstood.
Yeah.
He is so delusional, it's giving the exact same toxic situationship energy as the girl with the Drake lyric. I can change her. She just had a hard childhood.
Yeah.
No, Shane, she's a literal war criminal.
His profound desperation for maternal connection completely overrides his elite profiling skills. He wants a mother so badly that he intentionally ignores the glaring empirical evidence of her sociopathy. It's a tragic flaw, but it's dangerously naive in his line of work.
So dangerously naive. Okay, segment 2. Power play's gone wrong. Who thought they had control and lost it immediately?
First up, Colette Atkins. If we look at the power dynamics in the karaoke bar, she thought she held the ultimate trump card. She had Marty trapped in a coffin, slowly dying of dehydration. She felt completely in control of the negotiation, holding all the leverage. But the exact second Shane physically tackled her, and Bex put that heavy bag over her head and removed her visual field, her power vanished. She reverted instantly from a predator to a terrified, helpless child.
She folded. Bex completely flipped the psychological dynamic by weaponizing her phobia against her. But the ultimate, most satisfying failed power play. Lazarus. Lazarus is the absolute queen of unearned arrogance.
Absolutely. Lazarus operates on the dangerous assumption of absolute impunity. She thought she could orchestrate Victor Rosa taking the fall, control the local district attorney, keep Byron a secret, and simultaneously manipulate Shane's career path from the shadows. She thought she was playing three-dimensional chess while everyone else was playing checkers.
But she played herself. Her immense hubris led to her own team, her own biological son, executing her prized asset, Byron, and leaving the body for the local cops, just to spite her and ruin her cover-up. She lost her secret killer, she lost her clean narrative, and she lost Shane's loyalty all in one single night. Her empire is crumbling.
It's a classic Greek hubris narrative. She fatally underestimated the moral rigidity of Bex and Hassani, and she completely overestimated her emotional, maternal hold on Shane.
Exactly. Which brings us to segment 3, loyalty or strategy. Who is playing with heart and who is playing to win?
For Hart, it undeniably has to be Bex. If you analyze her decision matrix, Bex operates entirely on a moral, heart-driven imperative. She risks her badge, explicitly breaks federal protocols, defies a legal superior officer, and essentially commits a felony by abandoning a federal asset's body at a local crime scene. Why? Just to free one innocent man she had never even met.
She played with her whole chest. She saw Victor Rosa, saw the injustice of a man robbed of his life, and decided, I'm going to burn this corrupt system to the ground to get you out. It wasn't strategic. It was terrible for her career. It was pure, unadulterated loyalty to the fundamental concept of justice.
Meanwhile, the absolute epitome of strategy is the Pit and Dr. Fairfax. There is zero heart, zero empathy in anything they execute. Surgically removing Colette's auditory hallucination wasn't a medical procedure to cure her suffering. It was a strategic deprivation tactic, replacing it with an AI deepfake of her abusive dead father to extract coordinates. That is cold, calculated, pure utility. They view the human brain as a hard drive to be hacked.
They are playing algorithms with people's trauma. It is so profoundly sick. Everything is a data point to them. How do we exploit this childhood wound to get this geographic coordinate? Absolute trash humans.
Finally, segment 4. Too comfortable. Who got a little too confident and paid a massive price for it?
Eric Rosa. Eric, sweetie, I am so sorry for your trauma, but you were way too comfortable. You let a random stranger into your house just because he found your dog. Like, thank him on the porch. Give him a gift card to Starbucks. Do not invite him in to see your open concept living room and the layout of your exits.
It's a catastrophic failure of situational awareness. Eric is deeply lonely and seeking comfort and connection, so his brain intentionally ignores every glaring red flag. He immediately overshares highly sensitive information about his serial killer father to a man he met 3 minutes ago on his lawn.
The oversharing. Boundaries, Eric. We need to establish boundaries. You were way too comfortable, and you almost ended up bludgeoned to death on your own rug. But the other person who got way too comfortable, Byron May.
Byron became complacent in his pathology. Phrogging requires extreme physical discipline, spatial awareness, and timing. But Byron's ego grew, and he started getting sloppy, eating people's leftovers while they were still in the house, posing in the background of their social media photos, risking digital exposure.
He got arrogant. He thought he was an invisible ghost. He got way too comfortable playing house in people's attics, stealing their snacks, and thinking his intelligence was vastly superior to theirs. And what did his comfort get him? A 9mm bullet to the forehead from Shane. Checkmate, attic boy. You flew too close to the drywall.
His psychological need to escalate his interactions overpowered his basic survival instincts. He got comfortable, he got caught, and he got summarily executed.
And that, babes, is exactly why we check our air vents before bed. Period. Wow. What an absolutely chaotic, heavy set of episodes. My mind is completely blown, my throat is still spicy, and I am emotionally exhausted from the sheer volume of trauma we just unpacked.
It's been a massive analytical lift, but we successfully mapped it out. We diagnosed the trauma, we called out the structural plot holes, and we judged everyone's decision-making process incredibly harshly.
As is our fundamental right. Babes, wrap-up time. Thank you to you listening at home for hanging out with us, dealing with our messy, tipsy Friday energy, and letting us spiral into microphones for an hour. You are the real MVPs.
And a quick reminder, if you enjoyed this absolute deep analytical discussion of the psychology of the show, please share the podcast with a friend, send it to your group chat, and leave us a rating and review on whatever app you're listening on right now. It feeds the algorithm and mathematically helps us buy more jalapenos.
Yes, 5 stars only, please. If you have criticism, keep it in your personal journal. Callback time. Babes, we started this episode with spicy margaritas and the profound delusion of winning the lottery, analyzed your messy situationship stories, and somehow we ended up dissecting the mechanisms of people living in attics and federal cover-ups. As we do, it's called range.
But before we sign off, we need to leave you with one final provocative thought to marinate on over the weekend. Think about this structural reality. We know Lazarus fast-tracked Shane's application to the pit. But we also analytically know she did this knowing full well that he would fail the standard psychological evaluation.
Ooh, wait. Okay, I'm listening. Where are you going with this?
So what is her ultimate long-term endgame? She didn't bring him there to be a standard rule-following agent. Is she systematically trying to break his psyche down by putting him in these specific high-trauma situations, surrounding him with unredeemable monsters, and essentially forcing him into a position where he executes people like Byron? Is Lazarus intentionally trying to mold Shane so he becomes just as dark, twisted, and morally flexible as the killers they are hunting? Is she trying to manufacture an heir to her throne of chaos?
Oh my God. Chills. Literal physical chills down my spine. She is trying to corrupt his soul to build a dynasty. You listening right now, sound off in our DMs. What do you think her master psychological plan is? I cannot wait to read your theories and spiral over them.
We'll be analyzing every single one of your messages. Until next week.
Stay shady, stay chaotic, and we will see you on the Snark side.